Let me take you on my flight journey from Chicago all the way to Panama City on Copa Airlines. So I had an hour and a half layover in Chicago. Honestly, one of the craziest stories. My flight was supposed to be through Miami, got delayed, but finally made it to Chicago airport. So going through the airport, it is a hub for United flights. So you'll get to see a lot of the United flights in Chicago. So they had a bus ride. We got off, I was flying from Toronto to Chicago and then Chicago to Panama City. So got off in Terminal E and my flight for Copa Airlines was leaving from Terminal A. So just making my way to Terminal A. I'm a huge aviation enthusiast. So just crossing through all of these fantastic wide body planes, finally made it into my flight. This aircraft was a 737 MAX 9. I've actually never sat in a 737 MAX 9, so was very excited to go about with it. And I've also heard a lot of good things about Copa Airlines. So making my way into the seat, I was actually given an extra legroom seat, which was pretty fantastic. Like the legroom in this extra legroom seat was amazing. I didn't have to pay anything extra. Crossing the business class seats on this plane, they had lie flat seats, which are very rare when you're traveling across North America or Central America as a whole. As you can see, the seat in itself is very comfortable. The design is sleek, very modern. It has a lot of storage space. You have charger cables as well. Just put down the tray table to show you a comparison of what it actually is. The seat is very similar to the Air Canada seats that you have, at least from a seat back perspective. You have a good entertainment screen as well. What's interesting about these seats is that only the preferred seats have an entertainment screen. Otherwise, if you're in the regular economy section of the plane, then you would have to stream any sort of entertainment on your personal device. So just going through the different flight path, that's one of my favorite parts, just seeing the flight path that I'm going to be on. Just seeing how far the Chicago to Panama flight is going to be. So this flight in general was going to be a 4.5 to 5 hour flight, and it was a pretty smooth flight when you think about it. The IFE screen was very well responsive, going through the entire IFE screen, showing you the North American continent map. They had some cool features in the flight itself. The business class, as I mentioned, was really comfortable. Like they had these pod structures. The safety radio in itself also was really cool. They had a good mix of culture from Panama. Going into the leg space, since it was a preferred seat, there was so much leg space on the seat. I have my seat back pocket completely full. I also made my way into the loo to show you how big the loo was. Overall, it's a pretty average sized loo, still bigger than the 737-800 loos, but overall pretty average. Going through the back of the plane, you can see there's no entertainment screens, as I alluded to before. What I realized was on my way back from the bathroom that there were a couple of seats empty in between, so I actually shifted from a preferred seat to a regular seat. But then I got these two seats next to me that were completely empty, which was much needed. It was 3:34 p.m. and with all these delays that I'd had coming from Toronto, just wanted to eat some food. I had not eaten a single bite of food right before that. So here you can see, just looking at my food, or there were two main courses available on menu. One was a pasta option. The second one was a spaghetti with, sorry, meatballs with rice option. So I went for the pasta option. Honestly, the food was pretty good. The fact that they were even serving food was pretty shocking to me, because most of the North American airlines don't really care to feed you. So I demolished this food pretty quickly. Like, I was honestly so hungry that once I ate it, I was pleasantly surprised with the kind of food. The food was pretty average initially, but then adding a little bit of salt and pepper, it made up for everything. And just the hunger overall was so high and everything I was eating honestly was just going down really well. And ended up eating the chocolate cake, which honestly was really good too. So you can see me devour the entire food. The chocolate cake honestly was really good. The cream frosting, fantastic. So overall, the fact that Copa offers you food to begin with was a pretty big positive. But then, yeah, having drinks as well. I'm a huge fan of guava juice, so I ordered some guava juice as well, which was a really nice change to have. Completely demolished my food, as you can see here. I was so hungry after that I ordered for a second main course, and the crew was kind enough to offer me the meatballs and the rice option. Honestly, the pasta option, in my opinion, was a little bit better than the meatballs and rice options, but this wasn't too bad either. All the food was missing was a little bit of salt and pepper, so I added that, and then I was just so hungry during this time that I was just happy to have had some food next to me. So you can see the two options, really, really good from Copa Airlines, just to even offer food on a 4.5 hour flight, considering the below average service that you would receive on a regular North American airline flight. Otherwise, so yeah, just happy to have gotten the food, just eating the food. I was pretty well satisfied with the overall aspect of how Copa Airlines was in general. The crew was extremely friendly. Honestly, when I asked them for a second plate of food, they didn't even hesitate to offer me a second plate. So I went ahead and I demolished this plate of food. The entire journey for me was extremely exhausting, so I decided to take a nap in this three-seater flight. I had this really puffy pillow, so took a nap, put my legs up on the seat, and it was just extremely comfortable as a flight. So yeah, after waking up from a solid 2.5 hour nap, I wanted to drink some coffee. It was actually, funnily enough, my second cup of coffee for the day. I have a lot of coffee generally, but before I knew it, we were ready to land in Panama City. The views landing into Panama City were stunning. They have this really cool landing where they're coming through the water body into the city. So, really, really cool landing views. But overall, on the Copa Airlines flight, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. The seats are extremely comfortable, whether it be the regular economy or, you know, the preferred seats in general. The one thing I would say is Copa Airlines makes the temperature really, really cold in their in-flight cabin. So if you're flying, even if it's the summertime, please do carry a jacket with you. Otherwise, you're gonna feel extremely cold. I was very grateful to have landed in Panama City after two flight cancellations and initially putting myself on a third flight. So touching down into Panama City, I was very, very excited to start off my trip and journey. Overall, will 100% fly Copa Airlines again. The overall flight was really cool. Again, as I mentioned, the 737 max 9 was a very comfortable aircraft as well, and Copa Airlines has done a really good job. Solid food, solid crew, solid cleanliness as well in the flight. But what really struck out to me was how good the crew was and how well they handled the entire situation. Pretty smooth flight, all in all, and really, really appreciate flying with them. Yeah, so now we're just making our way into the gate, and I was so excited to go into Panama City. I've actually never been to Panama before this, so I'd heard a lot of good things from my brother and some of my friends who'd been to Panama, and just, being an aviation enthusiast, I was just seeing all of these different flights. What I was shocked about was there were two Turkish Airlines international flights that were there from Istanbul itself. So, really cool to see how well and far Turkish has expanded its wings. So, just making our way to the gate, we ended up getting parked right next to the Turkish Airlines flight. Coming to the gate, finally excited. Here we are, making our way out of the aircraft. Overall, like, very solid flight. The entire aircraft was clean, as I mentioned. The seats were extremely comfortable. So if you're flying through Central America, highly, highly recommend flying through Copa Airlines. So coming into Panama City, saw this other United flight that actually, funnily enough, came through Chicago as well. They just decided to park both these flights together. So solid 9 on 10 for the overall experience. Would definitely fly them again.